So you know it's white supremacy, right? Like you understand that everything Donald Trump is doing is white supremacy. Now, I know that some of you are tired of hearing that or you don't want to hear that. I know that that sounds like it's too oversimplified of an answer or whatever the case may be. But if you simply look at the data points you have, it's undeniable. When he first got inaugurated, the first thing he did was sign an executive order to end birthright citizenship. Do you know that birthright citizenship is enshrined in the 14th Amendment because of white supremacy? Because prior to the 14th Amendment, enslaved people were denied birthright citizenship under the Dred Scott versus Sanford case. And so the 14th Amendment enshrined birthright citizenship so that nobody would be denied that. Donald Trump denied it with a stroke of a pen, even though it's being challenged by federal judges. Additionally, Donald Trump is calling for an additional census to happen. This has never happened in American history where the president dictates this extra census. And in this census, he says, do not count illegal people. Now, of course, him and his administration get to determine who's illegal. You know where we've heard that before? Where people count differently than other people? The 3/5 compromise. When enslaved people were considered as 3/5 of a person. Now look at this takeover of DC where he's deployed federal troops. He's gone from ICE Gestapo thugs kidnapping people off the street while wearing masks, ripping mothers away from their children, even people that are here legally and doing it legally, doesn't matter, all ripped away. He's gone from that to now terrorizing and harassing American citizens. But look where he's deployed these troops, primarily black neighborhoods. Now, the over-policing of black neighborhoods is as American as apple pie, but it's rooted in white supremacy. You got KKK Caroline giving us statistics about how many arrests they got. You got Jeanine Pirro's crusty, dusty ass talking about laying the hammer of the law down. You got MAGA influencers talking about how we need to clean these neighborhoods out and start over. This is ethnic cleansing. They are talking about black people. Now listen, they're going to play the, oh, nobody said black but you, Jolly card, and that's because that's how white people work. You motherfuckers know I was raised with you, right? You motherfuckers know I was raised in the same house as you white folk, right? Went to the same church as you white folk, right? Went to the same school in the same communities, played with your white kids. I was raised by you. You no fucking gaslight me. Anyway, I can keep going because there's a lot of examples, but all I'm telling you is if you look at exactly what Donald Trump is doing, it's white supremacy. This is a Make America White Again movement. Christian nationalism is a white supremacist movement. It isn't an over-exaggeration. This isn't a stretch. This isn't a conspiracy. This is fucking reality, and it's happening right in your fucking face.
Tell me something that white people say to let you know that they're low-key racist.
Funny you should ask. I have a list. All lives matter. Race baiting. Politically correct. Race card. Reverse racism. Black on black crime. I'm not a racist, but. Identity politics. Why isn't there a White History Month? Check my last video for that one. Heritage, not hate. Saying to a black person, can I touch your hair? Saying to a black person, you're so articulate. Focusing on the criminal activity of a victim when a black person is killed by a cop, or saying, if he just would have complied. And lastly, when issues of race are being discussed, they say, why do you talk about race so much? That's all I have right now.
To my white brothers and sisters, I'm not politically correct. I tell it like it is. When I hear someone say go back to your country, it's always from a white person directed at a black or brown person. But that makes no sense because our ancestors weren't from here, and we stole this land, and we're still colonizing it. And when I hear black and indigenous and people of color talk about reparations, I hear a white person in the background yelling reverse racism. But that makes no sense because white people have never been and are not being oppressed based on their race. So white people, I have a question. Why are you so afraid of losing your position in society? Why are you so afraid of losing the comfort that white supremacy has given you? Why are you so afraid of actual equality? Learn up.
White people on the internet always seem to be confused as to why they're being accused of racism, and an example of this that I see every single day on this app is some random person of color will make a TikTok and like hashtag Black Girl Magic or something along those lines, and every single time, without hesitation, some white person will be in the comments being like, well, what about white people? How come I can't say white girl magic? You'd call me racist then. And this presents what sociologists like to call a double bind. The double bind here is that when people of color talk about their oppression as it relates to white people, they're told to shut up about it, or that it's not white people, it's their own cultural mishaps or whatever. But then when people of color talk about their own personal empowerment within their group, then white people always want to interject and be like, well, what about white people? So we force people of color into these safe spaces, and then we sit there and complain and accuse them of racism when they participate in their own safe spaces? Make this make sense.
Hey guys, welcome back to Afrojudy. I hope you all are doing great and fine wherever you are watching this video from. So in today's episode, a majority of the palm-colored people are admitting the fact that they were taught to be racist towards black people, and racism is something which you are taught. You are not born with it. And also, some are admitting the fact that the system which is ruling them right now is a white supremacist system. Some of them are also trying to deconstruct from racism because they learn that it's not going to benefit them, and instead of benefiting them, it's only causing a lot of harm than good. So let's unpack this episode together. Kindly give the video a thumbs up and also subscribe if you are coming across this channel for the very first time.
Minorities would rather be around racist than performative liberals. And the reason why is that, ironically, racists can genuinely be more pleasant to be around. First off, I'm not talking about your hate-filled, says the N-word kind of racist. I'm talking about your everyday, run-of-the-mill racist. Racism is a spectrum where you have extremes and averages, and your average racist probably wouldn't join the Klan, but they definitely vote for Trump. So what makes them more pleasant to be around? Well, it's because you know what to expect with a racist. These racists will believe wrong things about your people, make inappropriate jokes about you or your family, and constantly reference the fact that you are black or Latino or gay or whatever. They make it very clear that they put you in a box in their head, and all of their interactions with you are colored by you being in that box. But that's par for the course. You know exactly what to expect. They'll say they want Mexicans out of this country and how they're ruining everything, but then they'll turn around and come help you work on your car or help you cut down a tree in your yard. That's the thing. You can have a beer with a racist, and that might sound crazy to some of you, but in the South, it happens all the time. I see it all the time. If you're a Mexican and you're working a factory job, you will be ribbed constantly for being Mexican. But then y'all can all go out to drink later because, like, yeah, they're racist, but they're good drinking buddies. But performative liberals are snakes. They're insidious, and they use things like civil rights and fighting racism to platform themselves as a good person. But they're not willing to help when it actually matters. And on top of that, you can't trust a performative liberal. Think about it. If a white man says, I'm liberal and I believe in equal rights, how do you verify that? How do you know they're not just blowing smoke up your ass and actually will walk the walk of fighting for your civil rights? Well, you don't. You have no way of knowing if they're legit, and minorities in this country have been burned too many times by Democrat lies to believe people just off the cuff. And this is a much bigger problem than you might think, because these people have been betrayed by Democrats so many times, they become friends with the enemy they know rather than the snake that always lies to them. And because of this, a lot of minority communities have normalized the racism they experience every day. I see it all the fucking time. If you're wondering how Latino and Cuban populations in southern states vote so heavily for Trump, it's because they normalized this racism and believed what they were told. Because it takes honesty to be racist to your face. Why would they lie about everything else? They actually thought Republicans would only get illegal criminals, that they would lock down the border and stop the drug crisis, because they really believed the jokes were just jokes, that they weren't one of the targets, because how could they be? We work the same factories, we dig the same trenches. They might be racist, but we aren't enemies. But they were lied to and betrayed. And yeah, the fault obviously lies with the Republicans, but the fault also lies with us. Liberals are all about equal rights until it comes time to pay up. We can't have reparations because we can't afford it, or it's not logistically possible. We can't improve our immigration system because there's just too much red tape. Well, guess what? If the system is broken, then recycle it. But Democrats won't do that because all they care about is protecting the broken status quo. Democrats will politely debate debate for hours, but refuse to ruffle any feathers. So you have to ask yourself if you'd rather be around a racist coworker or a lying coward, because that's what these people were left to choose from, and a lot of people end up picking the racist, and honestly, I have a hard time blaming them. All of this is heavily South-coded, obviously. If you're in New England, West Coast, wherever else in America, the experience will be pretty different. But minorities that I've seen growing up in the South have normalized this behavior. You know, they're friends with racists all the time because that's all they see, and they become very used to it, and they will defend these racists and call them good people or whatever else. And it's... I have a hard time blaming them. You know, that's just sort of what happens. But they're not your friends, right? They're voting to kick you out of this country. And I'm sorry that you haven't realized that yet. But that's the truth. And that's all, folks. Peace.
I'm a white person trying to unlearn racist ideologies that have been taught to me throughout my lifetime. Growing up in Alberta, I was taught a lot of racist things and phrases. And the other day I made a video about the insidious way that racism creeps into my life, and I gave an example. And that's where I made my mistake on a social media platform of giving an example. Because I think some people hadn't heard of that phrase before and now are maybe thinking of that, and that wasn't my intent. I think my intent was to open the conversation about the intrusive thoughts that I still get as a person who is trying really hard to unlearn all that bullshit that I was taught as a kid. I'm learning all the time about how to talk about racism because it's a hard subject to discuss. And I appreciate the gentle guidance that I was given regarding this in my comment section. You know, I messed up this time, but I'm still going to keep talking about it, and I'm still going to learn how to talk about racism, and I'm still going to keep unlearning those racist ideologies. So thank you for everyone who keeps sticking around and listening to my ramblings.
A quick story on how this white girl grew up in a completely white town, not taught anything but white. Let's get into it. Grew up in a very small town in Iowa, and its name is Storm Lake. This small town in Iowa, as I was growing up, I only saw white people. There were not any people of color in school. Wait, yes, there was. There were 2 black guys, and they were adopted from one family. I didn't believe that there was Mexicans, but we weren't taught Mexican, so we didn't know what that was, okay? So we didn't know. It was only white, and that's all we knew. Until a big hailstorm hit that town one day, and the next thing you knew, there were Mexicans coming to town. I was like, oh my gosh, there's a Mexican, how cool. We're finally seeing a different culture. And then the Asians started to come slowly but surely, because in this town, there was a pork plant and a turkey plant. So there was big manufacturing companies for people to come to this town and work. So slowly, in my teenage years, I started seeing some Mexican, some Asian, and then I never saw black. But ironically, me and my best friend cruising around this small town one day, we call it cruising the loop. We actually saw this big, buff, beautiful, handsome, muscular man. And I was like, oh my God, girl, look at that guy. And we're all like, oh my God, and he's so tan, blah, 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 blah. So later that exact same day, we saw this beautiful tan man at a bar and discovered that he was not tan. He was black. But my God, was he beautiful. I actually married that first black man that I ever saw and didn't even realize he was black. I learned a lot from marrying and falling in love with this black man. I loved the culture. I loved how I loved all people. I loved just the way that they lived versus white. I mean, I'm sorry, people, but black guys, they got it going on, and they have a lot better parties, if you know what I'm saying. So the reality of this little past blast from the past of mine is I got out of this little small town. I explored the world. I have learned that people are people, and you don't have to be white to make it. You can be black and be a happy person. You can be Asian. You can be anything. And they all are amazing cultures. So the people that are still stuck in this small town and they're little mega freaks, they haven't understood or had the opportunity to be able to see what the world really is instead of just a boring little white people town.
Well, guys, welcome back. You know, right now, they are coming out admitting that they have always been racist to black people or any other people of color, and also that they were taught to be racist towards the black people. They are trying to deconstruct themselves from racism because they are seeing it as something which is not helpful. It's something which is causing a lot of harm than good. It's making them to lose a lot of trust, a lot of friendship, and also it's isolating them from the rest of the world because right now they have learned that the world knows who they are and what they always do to other people. It instills that fear in them. And again, majority of them, like from the clips you have watched, they are admitting the fact that the system is a white supremacist system, and yet some still don't want to admit that it's a white supremacist system because they thought that if we say about something about white supremacy, it's all about hate groups, but they are not seeing it in America. And the hate groups are still there. Even from the various episodes I uploaded, you've seen the hate groups walking around in the United States yelling those racist words, and they're so comfortable about it. So if some of the palm colored people right now are saying that the white supremacy isn't in America, then why is it that majority of the palm colored people are poor? Majority of them are homeless. Some are fighting addiction. Some are dying because they can't afford healthcare. Some are frozen into student loans. They can't even pay it. Because if the white supremacy was meant to help the palm colored people, right now they could have been living a peaceful life, a luxurious life in the United States. You know, they thought that if they do wrong to the black folks, they are going to benefit a lot and the black folks are going to feel more harm than good. But now they are coming to realize that this white supremacy is affecting them more than it's affecting the black folks, because black folks are used to this. They know the best ways they can use to maneuver this. They know how the system is. They know how the system only protects the wealth and the power more than it protects the everyday citizens. And the black folks have been preaching to them this generation after generation the truth about white supremacy, of which majority of them didn't want to accept before. But right now, it's when they are coming to realization that this thing is affecting them. They need to wake up. They need to tear it down because it's something which was built. If you build something, it will reach a point that you'll have to tear it down if you really don't want it. So some of them right now are using their voices. They are calling out whatever has been happening in their community. They are calling about the racism, the white supremacy that is so persistent in their community, and even trying to educate others the best way they can use to tear this white supremacy down. The best way they can use to combat racism that has been existing in the United States for decades and decades. So, guys, do you agree with these palm-colored people that the American system is full of white supremacists? Let me know in the comment section. And you know, right now, majority of the palm-colored people are fleeing America to other countries because they are so scared of the same white supremacy. It's affecting them, it's affecting their children. And some also say that whatever they are being taught behind the closed doors, how to treat the black people, is not the same thing that they are using outside when they are with the black people. Like when they are outside, they are pretending to be good people, but when they are behind the closed doors, they act like wild animals to the black people. It's something which is still there. The black people are still being stared at the stores. The black people are still being underpaid when they go to some jobs. They are still being undermined. They are still there to prove their worth so that they can be considered equal to other people. They are still fighting for equality in the United States. So, guys, do you think that this racism will one day end in the United States? Because from one of the clips, white woman said that if it's not them to take action right now, then it will not end. And I totally agree with her, because some were also saying that also white people are experiencing racism. Do you agree with that? I'm not trying to mock the palm colored people that they are not experiencing it, but who are experiencing the more? It's the black people, it's the people of color, all the POC are experiencing racism. You know, it reaches a point that they say that black girl magic, then some of the palm colored people will come out and start saying, what about the white girl magic? What about the white girl power? What about the white lives matter? I know all lives matter, but you know, whatever has been happening to the black folks in the United States for all these generations, and it's something which is they are still experiencing, and it's something which were caused by your very own ancestors. And if you can end it right now, then it can end. But if you really don't want to deconstruct from it, to attest that you really own it and you should be ending it, there is no one who is coming to help you out to end racism, to end white supremacy. And also, in this world, personally, I know that there is no one who is so supreme as compared to another person. So if you feel that you are so supreme as compared to this person, that is up to you. But just know in mind that you are not supreme to anyone. Anyway, let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. I really appreciate your massive love and support. I'm your presenter, Judy. Until next time, peace and love.